In this video, we will be computing conditional probabilities. The probability of event B, assuming that event A has already occurred, is the conditional probability of B given A. And this is the notation we will be using, which means the probability of B given A. It's helpful to think of the conditional probability as the probability that event B occurs if the sample space is restricted to the outcomes associated with event A. Let's take a look at an example to explain what that means. The number discs shown are placed in a box and one disc is selected at random. Find the probability of selecting a 6 given that a blue disc is selected. So it is really helpful to use this notation from above. I'm going to write the probability of selecting a 6, so the probability of a 6, given that, where we see the words given that, we're going to put this vertical line. A blue disc is selected. So given that blue, the probability of selecting a 6 given that it is blue. So when I said that the sample space is restricted to the outcomes associated with event A, that's the second event here, the second part. When it says given that a blue disc is selected, I'm reducing my sample space to just be the blue discs. The sample space is all of the possible outcomes. And in this problem, it's as if we are removing the green discs, like they're not even possible. It's like we take them out of the box and we make our sample space just the blue discs. And now out of the blue discs, we want the probability of selecting a 6. So in the bottom of my fraction for probability, the number of blue discs goes in the bottom. So 4, that's my blue discs. And then in the top, how many of those blue discs are the number 6? Well, there is 1 blue 6. So 1 for the 1 blue 6. And the probability is 1/4. Here's a similar example. Find the probability of selecting a blue disc given that an even number is selected. So this time I'm going to write P parenthesis, the probability of selecting a blue disc, so blue goes first, given that, and where we see given that, we put that vertical line, an even number is selected. So in this one, our condition that we're going to think about first is that it has to be an even. So I'm restricting my outcomes to just be the evens. That's my sample space just becomes the even options. So I'm going to remove all the odds. So I remove 1, 3, 5, and 7 because they're odd. And I'm only looking at the evens. And now out of the evens that are left, how many are blue? Well, there are 1, 2, 3 blues out of 4 evens. So my answer is going to be 3 out of 4. The bottom is the number of evens. The top are the blue evens. And that would be our answer. Here's another example. One person is randomly selected from the population described in the table. This table represents marital status of the U.S. population, ages 18 or older, in millions. It's helpful when you are given a table and you're about to compute some probabilities to total up your rows and columns and figure out how many people are represented in the table. In some problems that's done for you, in this one it's not, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to add up the never married column. 29.7 plus 22.5 is 52.2. This is going to be my total. Adding up the married people, we get 127.1. The widowed people add up to 16.1 million, and divorced adds up to 21.5 million. And then I'm also going to total up my rows. So I'm going to total up the males, and adding that row, I get 104.8 million males, and adding up all the females, I would get 112.1. In some tables, we need to also determine the total number of people represented in the table. If we were to do that, we don't actually need it in this problem, but just for your info, if we added up the males and the females, they would add up to 216.9 million, and that would be all of the people represented in the table. And if I were to add up my columns, the never married, married, widowed, and divorced, it should also add up to the same, which it does, 216.9 million. So that's our total number of people in the table. But when we do conditional probability, we are reducing our sample space to be just part of the possible outcomes. So we won't need the total number represented in this table. Let's look at this example. Find the probability that the person is female given that this person is married. So we're selecting one random person from this group. And first, let's write our notation. The probability that the person is female given that, that's when we make the vertical line, this person is married. So I go to this second part, the married people, and I'm restricting my sample space to just be the married people, which means I'm going to cross off my never married, the widowed, and the divorced because I'm only looking at the married people. My sample space is restricted just to that group. Now, on the bottom of my fraction, I'm going to put the total number of married people. And up above, we added those together and got 127.1 for the total of that column. So 127.1 is the bottom of my probability fraction. Now we want the probability that the person is female given that they are married. So now I'm going to take the females in that column that are married, and they go on the top. So the bottom is like the total married population, and then on the top it's the married females. And the problem with our answer right now is we have decimals inside of fractions, so we should probably put that in a nicer format. If you type that into your Desmos Scientific Calculator, you can either get your answer as a decimal, or if you tap this fraction feature, it will give you a reduced fraction that doesn't have decimals in it. So as a reduced fraction, it's 636 over 1,271. That's an exact probability. And then sometimes you'll be asked to change it to a decimal and round to a certain decimal place. So let's say we wanted to round to the hundredths place, which is the second digit, 2 decimal places. We would put 0 approximately equal to 0.50. And that would be a decimal approximation rounded to 2 decimal places. And here's one last example. Find the probability that the person is divorced given that the person is a man. So this time it's the probability that they are divorced given that the person is male. So this time I want to start by narrowing it down to just the males, that second part, the part that comes after given that. We are only looking at the males, which means I'm going to cross out the females. I'm not looking at them at all. I'm removing them from my data. My sample space is restricted only to the males. And up above, we totaled up the male row and found that there were 104.8 million males represented in this table. So that is going to be the bottom of the fraction. And then on the top it's going to be the people who are both divorced and male. So our divorced males is 8.5 million, which is equal to 85 over 1048. That is a reduced fraction. Or as a decimal, it's approximately equal to 0.08. And you should pay attention to the instructions in each question. It will often tell you to express your answer as a reduced fraction or as a decimal rounded to a certain number of decimal places.